Welcome to the Heartwork Podcast, where we delve into stories, struggles, and triumphs of entrepreneurship, leadership, and personal growth. I'm Dr. Sara.
And I'm Dr. Marisa. We're here to guide practitioners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and those just navigating the complexities of life on a journey of discovery that explores the dance between passion and strategy, heart and hustle.
With candid conversations, insightful interviews, and plenty of laughs, get ready to uncover how leading with heart can transform your business and life. Let's dive in.
Welcome back to another episode of the Heartwork Podcast. We are so glad you're here because today we are going to talk about all things hiring and firing, how to really navigate as you grow as a leader, as you grow as a business owner, as you get more reps and years accumulated in time in business, like the way that you navigate the hiring process, the training process, and potentially the firing or the 2-week notice process also changes and evolves with you. And it's totally okay if some of the things that you did when you first hired team members as a part of your business to as you are navigating hiring later on in your business can look very different. And for both Sara and I recently in these seasons, we have both hired and also had team changing dynamics and have had to create different expectations and boundaries around that and also have fired. And so we just wanted to come on and dive a little bit more back into that because one of the common themes that we are hearing right now amongst many of our service-based businesses is just challenges with team.
Mm-hmm. I think team is literally, we say this a lot, it's one of your biggest joys, and it can be one of the most difficult things that you ever experience as a leader.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's so wild. So I've been in a season of hiring. We have actually, and this is crazy for us. So I've always had a little bit of a larger team than most people I think would put themselves in, especially in the chiro world. I've always carried a little bit of a higher team for the effectiveness and also just for our volume at the same time. And back this past July, we had 2 of our newest team members transition out really quickly. And thankfully, honestly, I think the purpose that happened is we've gotten way more and more clear about what it actually looks like for who is on our team, why you're on our team, and we're not letting shit ride for long if they're not in alignment with us. But then come July, and all of a sudden now it is literally March. It has truly taken us this long to truly find somebody that's been the right candidate for us. And we as a core team really came together and had some big conversations around who it is that we're looking for. And also at the end of the day, really allowed us to look at our systems, allowed us to look at our culture, allowed us to really look at what we were creating and refining and almost trying to make it simpler before we hired again. We did tried to do some hiring in the fall. It just did not work out. We just didn't have any people that were made us super excited. That just it wasn't the right people, wasn't the right timing. And so we kind of went into the end of the year just saying you know what, look, let's just chill out and we'll accommodate and maneuver what we want to. And it was kind of a unanimous thing. I think that's one of the coolest thing too, especially if you involve your team on hiring stuff, you're typically going to all find similarities and the vibe is all going to be the same versus trying to force something to happen. And sometimes I do know that you come into a season where you just need to put a body in a seat. However, I've learned that does not always work well. It doesn't always work well for the side of a hot body does not mean that they're actually on mission for what you're trying to do. It doesn't mean that they're going to help you grow. It doesn't mean that they're actually going to make you really happy to see them every single day. It can just be miserable at the end of the day. However, I do understand, we've had seasons where I've kept people longer than they needed to be there for the sake of they just also just helped us do some system stuff prior to the transition. So anyway, we just kind of as a unanimous team took a moment of breath and just were okay, look, what is it that we're actually trying to find, to create, and who is it that we want to be in those seats? And it really required some deep look. My clinical director and I worked highly with this with my office manager and just really worked through some culture things, refined some systems in our office, all kind of came together and work systems differently. My my main doctors really only just adjust, do report of findings, progress report of findings, that type of stuff. They don't do a lot of first day stuff, but they jumped in. They did things that they don't normally always do so that we could accommodate what we were doing. And then in this season, we knew that we wanted to hire a office manager at this time because my current office manager, their family have decided to have a baby and add to their family. And with that, she is desiring to go part time, which is such a beautiful gift for her and her family that she can do that. However, in that also, it puts me in a different position. And I've also just learned by doing this because I had my previous office manager went part time, and having an office manager that's part time just does not work. It literally, when they're not in your office full time to see and feel what's happening with the whole people, your whole team, it just really doesn't work, or at least it has not worked for us. And so I knew when she came to me, it's like, okay, well, your position is going to be changing at this point. You can no longer hold the status of that role. Are you okay with that? And of course, she was not okay with that to a certain degree. Like, she was okay with it, but at the same time, she wanted to eat her cake and have all things together. What is that saying? Eat your cake and have
If
it.
you're taking have it too.
Yeah, eat
Yeah.
your cake and have it too. Okay. So yeah, so she wanted to be able to be the office manager, but also work part-time. It's like, and be a mama and do all these types of things. And at the end of the day, it's like for her and her family, it just wasn't realistic. And so, but that was also something that we've had to navigate. That was an ego thing that she had to just work through herself and had to have some honest conversations with herself, but also with all of us. And to then me tell her, it's like, then you know that I'm going to be hiring for an office manager, right? Like, we need a higher level leader that can do your job. Along with, we also need another full-time person. But we were very open to, like, what would it look like to be part-time? What would it look like to be creative here versus maybe some high school students, maybe some interns, like all these types of things. But I did know that I ideally would like an office manager. So in this season of hiring, we actually found somebody that we absolutely adore. We just hired her as a full-time CA, and she is just already just part of our crew. She immediately, when she came to do all of our stuff, we're like, she is an absolute yes. She was just one of those people that it was a unanimous yes. And the day we offered her the position, we actually ended up having the girl that we hired for our office manager position come through an email and emailed us interested in the center resume. Like, she was everything that I've like looked for on paper, at least, and I desired on paper. And she was a little older. Her kids are almost out of school, and all things that you would just hope for a higher level leader. And she had actually came through. She told us, I feel like this was solely a God thing because I went back to look where the position was and I didn't see it because I actually had taken it down. We had kind of as a team like said, nope, we're not going to actually do this. I'm just going to hire full time. We'll maybe hire us a couple college students. We'll just navigate without an office manager for a season if need be. And lo and behold, here she is. And she starts soon. So I say all this, like, and part of what this whole conversation is like, sometimes you also need to sit in timing and not just force something, and understand that sometimes alignment means simplification. Sometimes alignment means getting really clear with the current team that you have, or just even with yourself. Like, I have a client of mine that her team is all like left for the sake of transition. She let somebody go for not in alignment. And then also one of her current team members moved across the country. So she's helping her work remotely, but she
Mm.
literally went back to just herself in the office, getting very clear about what it is that she was wanting to create before she was adding somebody else on. So sometimes it really like gives you the opportunity to just ask, like, who are you needing in your office? Not just like, what are you needing, but who are you needing? Why are you hiring in the first place? And at the end of the day, are there places that could be really simplified even without that person that you hire? It may stretch you as a leader. It may stretch your current team. Obviously, there may be seasons of time where you also need to ask what support that team needs, because if they are doing multiple different jobs, it may also mean that certain things that you do in your place of business does not always have the same priority that it did before. As long as people are being taken care of really, really great, maybe paperwork gets pushed to the side a little bit more. It's like maybe some of your effectiveness with systems just looks a little different. So alignment can look like taking a pause at the same time, besides always having to move really quick. Now, obviously, Marisa has a very different situation just recently where sometimes it's the complete opposite. Sometimes you do get to move really quick because something is not in alignment, and really beautifully that this move and this decision is going to open you up for the potential of moving forward more. So there's nuances to it, right? There's nuances to all of it.
I think what I love the most is like the discernment that you just naturally start to embody the more that you do this. And like,
Mhm.
I'm thinking to Sarah back in like 2020, 2021, 2022, coming through the expansion and stuff. And you may have chosen just someone based off of who was there in the pool, knowing you needed that. And just the way that you and your team handled the fall and like not necessarily like wanting something, but not necessarily finding that in the right person and just saying, you know what? Something is telling me like we don't need this position right now. And you really didn't. And even right now, yeah, we're navigating some timeliney stuff, like, things are getting a little tight together, but it's also, like, that does create another opportunity where you get to rise up and see if the systems and the things that you've created have opened up an opportunity for someone of a higher caliber to come in and be able to be a little bit more just, like, rock and roll with the tide, and navigate the process with you. And I
Yeah,
think that for me, I've learned a lot on how to figure out what our office needs, but I'm still learning how to also trust and listen to my own intuition and discernment because at the end of the day, it is really fun to involve your team, but sometimes your team can also be really, really excited for like something different, something new, and it
yeah,
actually might not be the best business decision at the time. And you can get really, again, like, I mean, for me, I'm a little bit of a people pleaser. I want everybody to be happy. I want to pull on in the good energy. And so you can kind of pull the trigger on something, even if you have some little, like, little inklings inside that are just kind of telling you, like, I don't know, is it? Because if you are like me, I tend to overanalyze a lot of things that I do. And so I will overanalyze the fact that why do I have an inkling? Is this a me problem or is this like truly my intuition picking up on something strong and I need to like listen to that more? And so you can get kind of stuck in that analysis paralysis and then just default to what the masses, AKA what your team and what you think your office may need, even if you are or aren't ready for that at the time. And so just by working with different personalities, by having other students in our office, by having different team members come through, by having associates come through, like I think one of the biggest lessons for me in hiring and firing and mutually calling things like, quits and just that we need to move on and that we're not in alignment. I have learned more about how to be very vocal about what expectations are, very vocal about what I need, very vocal about what our office truly needs, and also have trusted more in myself. That even if I might make a quick decision, like there's a reason why I made it. And if it isn't continuing to pan out the way I thought, I can also make another decision to just move on. And sometimes we can be too, I think, so married to like I mean, we're here at the beginning of the year. We're about to finish up the first quarter, and you may have set at your vision casting or just like in thoughts of what you want this year to look like and created timelines in your head about what you want that to be. And I think back to last year, and I had really created this like timeline in my brain that I needed to hire a full-time associate in October because I had been in chats with a student who was potentially going to graduate in October and be ready to start. And so I was just kind of mirroring this thought of like the fall is going to be a good time. That's going to be 2 years since my husband and I got married and we talk about wanting to start our family in that time. So like yeah, that makes like logical sense and that like is going to pan out. And then I needed an associate sooner, and that's when I hired my part-time associate, and I was kind of resistant to going part-time, and then she fell in my lap, and I'm so freaking grateful that I decided to move forward with that because she has been a true asset and a true gift to our company. And then I was in the process of getting ready to hire this another associate, and I tore my Achilles, and so then in my brain, it was like, our office wasn't necessarily ready for another associate. Our office wasn't necessarily ready for me to be stepping out because I wasn't then gonna be getting pregnant at that time because of needing to do some injury healing and stuff, and so but I still move forward with it in the sense of like, well, what if? Or like, what if I can't? And beautifully, it really it did serve us in the time, and I did learned so much through the process of hiring, onboarding, and bringing in a full time associate with different expectations and different desires for individuals compared to what I initially brought in with my part time. And so learning through the last like about 5.5 months since tearing my Achilles and just the trajectory and change of like what our business has grown into and what our business has needed and what I truly need and our community is needing at this time. Like we just weren't in alignment anymore with what we were and decided to amicably like part ways and continue to allow that individual's journey to move forward in the way that it needs to and our journey as a business to move forward in the way that it needs to. So, like the invitation to just know that you can make decisions for your business, you can hire people in your business, and you may not have any idea what the true timeline of their presence in your practice and business may be. You may also know what the trajectory of business might look like. I mean, tomorrow we could blow up like crazy and it would be like, okay, we need to hire 3 associates. Holy smokes. But it also could be a season where you are focused on stability in your business,
Mhm.
in refining systems, and also understanding what the efficiency is of your current team. The more that you go through seasons and periods of time of learning about different people, onboarding, hiring, business ebbs and flows, the more also I think, again, it goes back to learning how do you really be in your business to know exactly what it may need at the time? And then when you are then going to the quote, quote, marketplace to hire someone to come in and join that, what are the ways that you are talking about the role, talking about the business, talking about the needs, and setting the expectations not only of realistically where you're at now, but also where you want to go and where you can see that role evolving into? Because when people are also interviewing you, deciding if they want to be a part of your business, if there's a set of expectations that are the reality of right now, that are different from maybe the reality of where you want to go. If those both things aren't communicated, you could either be over promising something that's not in the current cards, or you could actually be under delivering what the true expectations of this person are going to be.
Mhm.
And I think being able to get like nitty gritty and honest with those conversations can also be very helpful in you reading their response to that, their excitement for it, their desire to be a part of it, and also for them to read if it is also back in alignment with what they're looking for from an employment opportunity.
I think one of the things is I'm, like, hearing even just so let's say that you're in a season of trying to figure out a next move with a hire as well. I
Mm,
think one of the things to ask yourself the question is it out of a space of fear or, like, a frenzied emotional response? Or is it coming from a place of quiet rest, certainty? You may not have certainty in where you're going with all of it, but you can have certainty internally where it's like, I don't have all the answers yet, but I know that it's all gonna fucking figure out. Like it's all gonna come together. I just need to like chill the F out and let my system just like calm down. And I feel like that's been one of the biggest lessons the more I've done this over and over and over again. I've literally hired so many people. I have a team that has literally been with me for almost 9 years. Dr. Berger's been with me for almost nine. Kendall's been with me for almost eight. Hannah's five. Susie's going to be six. Like, so I've had people that have been with me for a long time. And I've also had a lot of people that have only been with me for a month to maybe 2 years. That's kind of my like in between space at the same time. So I think I also see a lot of people that say you hold on so tightly, like you were saying, to the outcome. You may have this vision, you may have this thought that this person is now going to take you to this next trajectory, right? And this person's going to help you do all the things that you need to do so that you can get somewhere, your business can get somewhere. But at that point, too, it's all about transaction. It's all about you finding a result versus actually enjoying the process, enjoying the journey and the beautiful gift of what team and what this process can look like when it comes to what it's teaching you in return. Truly at the end of the day, our team at the end of the day is the biggest beautiful mirror for who we are and how we lead. 100% all day long. If somebody is literally frustrating the crap out of you, it's a beautiful opportunity to ask you, why the heck are they frustrating you? If you can't hire somebody right now and you're not finding that person, I would ask the question, why? And what is the mirror reflection back to? Maybe it's a culture problem. Maybe it's a leadership issue. Maybe your onboarding just sucks. You need to get clear on what your onboarding is. Maybe it is you're putting off a vibe where you only are hiring out of like fear and scarcity. So you're only going to find people that are living in that space of fear and scarcity. You're not going to find the person that you're actually desiring to actually find. So it's an opportunity of reflection and giving yourself the space to say, all right, what would this look like if I actually just take a moment, take a calm breath, take a pause, and see what it is actually that is in alignment for you. And then the magic of when the person comes, this is something that I've had to also just navigate myself because there's always just emotions, right? Like there's rhythms of life and emotions that come when you hire people. So I had a team of 6 people, and smallest team that I've ever had, 3 doctors, including myself, 2 full-time, 2 part-time. So that's actually not 6, that's 7. But at any given time, I was having anywhere between 5 to 6 people in my office at current based off of like part-time girls. So now, by the time this office manager comes in, I'm going to have a team of 10 all of a sudden, like bump up because we have some interns that are shadowing with us right now. I have another intern starting with us in April. So I have my social media manager. So for one, my payroll just jumped up and like doubled almost. It feels like it doubled. It didn't, but like went a lot higher. Right. And then I think there's this element of also understanding it's like, we're doing things strategically for a transition that's getting ready to happen with some maternity leaves and all of that, and also with this intention for some growth in the office, and also the reality the growth is not here right now. Actually, we were literally on a call the other day and somebody was talking about, well, I just expanded and I have the growth, but the growth isn't where I want it to be. And it can send you into these spirals, right? Like it can send you into this place like, oh crap, did I make the wrong decision? Oh crap, did I like do this too fast? Did I do it too slow? Like, holy crap. And my girls, like I literally talked to my clinical director. I was like, I don't want just 5 people up at the front desk sitting and twiddling thumbs and doing nothing. Like one of my biggest, like for me, one of my can be a big spiral is when I feel like I have too many people and they're not working. So it'll send me in like a micromanager mode of me trying to be like, I got something for you to do if you're not doing it, like type of thing. But again, there's this level of trust that gets to come for the reality of like, you made the right choice. You got to trust yourself in it. You have to let yourself like swim through it a little bit and trust your processes, trust the humans that you've have to train. And maybe that's you doing the training, but you got to trust yourself to do it and trust it to work its way out for at least a season of time because you've set the clear expectations, you have the clear standards, you have the clear onboarding, whatever your processes are, and then trust that you're either going to find out that it is the right fit or not, but you got to let it go and you got to let it rhythm out. I am telling myself that the whole time. I got to like literally, I did this for a purpose. I cannot just expect everybody to understand every single thing in our training quite yet. Literally, I've only hired this one girl for 2 weeks now, like 2 weeks, like she's got to figure it out. We all got to figure it out. So there's this level of beautiful trust along the way, and trust yourself and your decisions. Take a pause and know that it's all going to mother effing work itself out.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing that can be like that's an exercised muscle,
It is.
and like even I was talking with Pablo, our coach, the other day, and like talking about the why I hired and the purpose behind my most recent hire and everything with my Achilles, and then wanting a baby and the whole stuff. And he was like, "Well, what do you think would be next?" And I was like, "I don't know. I mean, I did this with the intention of like, having someone there for time, but obviously we haven't started that yet." And it's like, he's like, "Well, you're not pregnant yet. You got to have plenty of time before you get there." And I was like, "Well, what if I'm nauseous and I like can't show up to work that time? And what if I can't even, move my body? And what if it takes them that much time to train?" And he's like, "But what if you're not nauseous? And what if
Right.
you're great and having a wonderful time? And what if you're laboring in the practice because you just won't leave and you're feeling so awesome? Like,
That will be
how do
you.
you?"
Like, literally, that's going to be you.
It is. He's like, I choose to believe that, like, even if those things will happen, even if that actually becomes true, you're going to navigate it and figure it out. Because
Yeah.
also, like, let's think about the positive. What if it won't? And so, kind of in that middle point of to your point of saying, like, trusting yourself And also having the surrender to just sit in it for a minute and be
Mhm.
like, I don't, sometimes we know what we know. And when we get there and we know it. And now it's like dragging anything on is just going to be silly at this point. But
Right.
there are times where you're kind of in that flux and you're like, is this in alignment? Is this not in alignment? Are we in this place for it? Are we not? And it's in those moments where, at least for me and have learning, and from what you have shared that you have also learned, sometimes those are the most beautiful places for you to pause and just say, let's just continue to watch it unfold, because I am sure that there will be signs and evidence that we are moving in a direction that feels in flow and that feels in alignment. And I just have that, like, even though there may be uncertainty, there's that like level of inner peace inside compared
Mhm.
to trying to be in flow, but feeling really, really anxious and just like
Yeah.
energetically being in your business and just feeling off, and that things just aren't like the puzzle pieces are there, but like there's just one little edge that's not quite matching up with the rest of the puzzle pieces. And so,
Mm.
especially when it comes to people, hiring people, navigating life with people, building a business with people. Sometimes time is like your best friend. And if it is just a lesson for a season, let it be a beautiful opportunity for you to learn something, discern something, and grow from that lesson in that season.
So thank you for joining us on another episode of the Heartwork Podcast. We hope today's conversation has inspired you to lead with heart in your business and life.
If you enjoyed this, subscribe so you never miss a release, rate our show, leave us a review, get on our VIP email list, and join our exclusive Facebook group, The Heartwork Life, to plug into our community and learn from us and other heart-led entrepreneurs on a weekly basis.
We look forward to chatting with you next time.
Bye!